Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. Happy Monday. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. And of course, it was a busy one with San Diego Comic-Con just passing us by this past weekend. And of course, Darren, the lucky guy, he was at San Diego covering the event. Mostly doing vlogs on the floor, showing you guys what else there is to do at Comic-Con besides Hall H. And of course, for our channel, there was no DC movie trailers to react to or cover. But Darren did show some of his some of his panels, the panels that he went to in regards to DC TV shows. So check those out if you're interested. Of course, I apologize for not getting a reading the comments video out yesterday. That's because I was at Powerhouse Comic-Con, a local Bay Area Comic-Con. Yesterday, I got to meet the original Captain Marvel / Shazam and got his thoughts on the newest movie, and I thought that was really interesting. You'll be surprised what he thinks about it, and we'll get that video out sometime this week. I gotta sit down and edit that one. But in this video today, what we're gonna do, because I missed the reading the comments video yesterday, I'm gonna read some of the comments and also just talk about what Zack Snyder said about his original ending to Justice League, and I thought that'd be something you guys definitely want to hear. So I'm kind of going off the cuff. If I am missing out on anything that you guys wanted to talk about in regards to DC news this past weekend, definitely let me know down in the comments. There's definitely a lot of TV to talk about, but I'm just going to be focusing on the Zack Snyder story today. But before that, definitely the thing out of the whole TV news that I'm most excited about is not Batwoman. It's actually the fact that Brandon Routh is coming back to be Kingdom Come Superman, and in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event for the CW shows. And this event actually has me excited enough to maybe jump back into the CW shows to check that out, because I was actually a fan of Brandon Routh as Superman. It wasn't my favorite iteration of Superman, but I thought it was a decent enough movie. Superman Returns, I forgot how many years ago that came out, but it'd be cool to see him as Kingdom Come Superman. Some people don't like the idea, but it's a CW TV show. I don't take it too seriously, and I think it'd be fun to watch. So I definitely got to catch up with that. But let's move on to really quick, the one thing we're talking about in today's video before reading the comments and seeing what you guys think about all the stuff that we've been talking about is Zack Snyder. So Screen Rant had an interesting article talking about how Zack Snyder had a presence at Comic-Con and beat Warner Brothers despite not being there. And this is exactly, it's funny, I just saw this article right now, but this is exactly what I was going to talk about anyways. So this past weekend, of course, Warner Brothers, their biggest attraction, they had a presence there. Of course, they had a bunch of TV shows there too on the DC side of things, but their biggest attraction was the It Chapter 2 trailer, which I actually enjoyed. I'm excited for it, but besides that, while they have a lot of DC properties to talk about, and in regards to the Joker coming out this October, and I'm super excited for the Joker. They didn't talk, they have Wonder Woman 1984 around the corner. They got Birds of Prey. They didn't talk about any of that. They didn't have any panels for any of that. Paved the way for Marvel to kind of steal the show for the weekend, of course, with all of their announcements. And yeah, Zack Snyder had a presence there, and it was in the form of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. Of course, I've covered this before. They had the billboards there. Of course, they had the plane flying over the place for a couple hours with the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut sign, and of course, the fans were making a lot of noise, and it was enough for Warner Brothers to take note of it for sure. So the big thing that we got out of Zack Snyder was the original ending to Steppenwolf. So you can see in this Vero post right here, he says, "Not sure how they killed Steppenwolf in the theatrical version of Justice League. This was never finished all the way, but I use gods to kill gods." And that's such a badass line right there. This is, obviously this is where Diana in the Justice League version jumps off that wall and destroys Steppenwolf's axe before falling into the boom tube. And yeah, that was kind of meh. It was kind of underwhelming when it happened. So it is nice to know that in the Snyder cut of the movie, while he didn't ultimately get to finish his shot of this right here, he had a god killing a god. He had Diana killing Steppenwolf before Steppenwolf falls back into the boom tube. And I cannot find the article on the spot. I had it saved earlier, but I accidentally closed it. And again, going off the cuff here, if I remember reading correctly, Steppenwolf's head kind of falls through the boom tube and lands in front of the feet of Darkseid, and then that iconic shot of the Justice League staring out outside of the screen was actually them staring through the boom tube at Darkseid, looking like they're bracing for the war to come. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, but I do remember reading that in some article, and that kind of confirms what we've heard in previous rumors too, if that is true. But it is great to know that, man. Once, and again, I'm a believer that we'll eventually get this cut. I think we eventually will if we keep talking about it. If we keep it relevant, we keep talking about it, keep spreading the awareness, I think we'll eventually get it. And I've said this before, and I'm getting repetitive. Could be months from now, could be years from now, but I think we'll eventually get it. It's going to be really great to see. I'm super excited to see Diana potentially ending Steppenwolf, and the only sad part about seeing that cut is we'll never see the sequel to that cut. But I'd be satisfied and content with just seeing what originally would have transpired. And this was not the only thing that came out from Zack Snyder. He did also release some pictures from his Army of the Dead movie, and this definitely got a lot of buzz. It's definitely going to be his first big project after this Justice League debacle. I know he did a kind of a short story movie or short film, but this is going to be his first big one, and Zack Snyder is going to he's going to have a full control from what I understand of this movie, and I'm really excited to see what he can do with this, because the last zombie movie he did was absolutely incredible, and this movie has been in the works for like years now, apparently, just on and off. So I'm excited to see the guy back in the directing chair and serving as cinematographer too, because he's a very talented guy. Let me know what you guys think about the original Steppenwolf ending. Did I get that right in regards to the rumor of Steppenwolf's head landing in front of Darkseid? I remember reading that. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Let's go ahead and start reading the comments. I did a Comic-Con Hall H MCU Phase 4 video. Was it yesterday already? I can't remember. This weekend was kind of a blur for me. Let's go ahead and dig into some of the comments here. Nico Burton says, I'm very excited for the fourth phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is actually the kind of the shortest phase out of all of them, right? It only is going to last 2 years. And just recently, Kevin Feige talked about how that he was almost going to announce Phase 5 here too, and it would have been cool if he did, because ultimately for me this announcement was kind of meh. I'm going to give all of these a shot, at least, especially with myself getting the Disney Plus series, or Disney Plus streaming service, just for that Mandalorian show at minimum, and I'm going to definitely check out all the other shows. But in regards to stuff like these other movies, the ones that got me most excited is definitely the Shang-Chi one, but mostly the Doctor Strange movie, because I absolutely love Doctor Strange Part 1, and I'm sure they're going to expand the whole universe over here. Let's see. Whelmed. I'm sorry, man. I forgot. I know you. I think you just changed your name. I know you had a different name before, but I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. He says, Strange mentored Scarlet Witch in the comics, mainly understanding the chaos magic. I guess the biggest question I have is how they're going to pull off a PG-13 Blade, or have the first R-rated MCU film. Out of all these, I'm kind of looking forward to What If. Thanks, guys. Y'all rock. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you for sure. You know what? That's really interesting. I forgot about that. Actually, the other thing that intrigues me the most is Blade, because Blade, Mahershala Ali, super talented actor, as I talked about before, who played Cottonmouth so great for the short time he was on that Netflix show as well. PG-13 Blade. The original ones were rated R, if I believe, right? I can't remember, but man. I don't think MCU is gonna go rated R. I don't think so. You know, we thought certain movies might go rated R before, but they just haven't. And knowing, Feige and while they are taking a little bit more risks now, I think they're definitely going to keep it PG-13 to be more accessible to everyone. At least that's what I think. I could be wrong, and it'd be cool if I was wrong for a rated R Blade. And the What If, I forgot the What If. The What If sounds cool, but it's I believe that's animated. And but it's cool that all the voice actors are going to be coming back to do that too. But what if stories and Elseworld stories on the DC side of things are sometimes the best stories. So definitely I could see how that would be really cool. And of course, looking forward to Doctor Strange. Nico Burton says, if Scarlet Witch is in Doctor Strange 2, that'd be amazing. Oh yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah. And again, I'm not as versed in Doctor Strange lore, but I absolutely love the idea of it. And if there's any like Doctor Strange stories that you guys recommend me read, definitely drop the suggestions down in the comments below, because I'm always trying to catch up on things. And while my stack is super high right now, I don't mind adding to that list. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have got any reading suggestions. Firestorm says, dude, you don't even stay caught up with DC Universe. How are you going to stay up with Disney streaming? Shang-Chi will be mostly marketed in China and other Asian countries. Yeah, it makes sense. China is an absolutely huge market for Hollywood, and it makes sense for Disney to do this. Smart business move. Some people will call it, some people will call it virtue signaling. Whatever it is, it's a smart business move, and I'm sure the Chinese audience and the audience in general, I think, can appreciate what the potential of this movie. Not saying that you have to like it, but the potential of it sounds really great. And again, it's one of the characters I'm not so familiar with, but definitely we'll try to catch up with. But in regards to staying up with the DC universe, you're right. But to be fair, I don't have the DC universe. Darren offered for me to just use his stream. I haven't yet asked that from him, but I will catch up eventually. And if you guys are interested in Darren or I doing kind of recaps of the season, let us know. But it's kind of late at this point to even do that. But yeah, it's going to be hard with the Disney streaming service for sure. And again, I'll give all these shows a chance, but if I don't find one so interesting, like for instance, the Loki series, I already don't find it interesting, but I'm going to watch the first episode. And if I like it, maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe because Darren and I have definitely talked about branching off into the shows as well, but both of us got a lot of other things going on with our other jobs. I got one on the way. It's we're definitely busy, but I'm definitely gonna try to keep up. But you make a good point that I'm definitely behind, and I should be talking about those DC Universe shows. Let's see. Miss MGS Big Boss 77 says, until Fantastic Four comes along, I'm excited for Black Widow, given it'll finally feature Taskmaster as their main antagonist, co-created by George Perez in 1980. Same year, he later revealed and created Deathstroke for DC Comics. Taskmaster's greatest ability is copying his opponent's moves and fighting against anybody with the same skills. Figured he'd be in a Deadpool movie. Seeing as the comics have him together, like Deathstroke, he's one of my favorite all-time villains. And unlike most supervillains in comics, his one true goal is making money. Besides being a mercenary for hire, he'll work with heroes or villains alike. He once worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. while in prison and thus trained the second Captain America in John Walker, U.S. agent. Taskmaster has held off the Avengers all by himself like one-man army and possesses the fighting talents copied from Spider-Man, Captain America, Daredevil, Black Panther, Iron Fist, Hawkeye's archery skills. Can't wait to see him in Phase 4. Black Widow has met her match. And I can't remember if Taskmaster was actually confirmed, because that leaked picture had people automatically assuming it was Taskmaster, but I wasn't sure if that was confirmed. But thank you for the rundown of his character, because I'm sure a lot of people is more of an obscure villain for a lot of people, and one that a lot of people haven't heard of. And of course, George Perez, definitely a legend. Definitely like to see Deathstroke. We actually got a first look at Deathstroke in the TV series, but I'm not really covering that this past weekend. But yeah, see, just you talking about it right there got me a little bit more excited for this Black Widow movie. And again, I think one of the other commenters on one of the other videos, they mentioned that but the fact that Black Widow's death would be undermined if this is a continuation of the Avengers, and if it's a prequel, it's just not as exciting because we know that she dies. So it's going to be hard, but just you breaking it down right there gets me a little bit more excited for Black Widow, because I wasn't so excited at first. But hopefully the action is on point for this movie, because Taskmaster sounds like a great villain. Shin Akage says, I'm a little disappointed in the Shang-Chi casting. I've been looking into Simi Liu, I'm not sure how to say his name, and he does not seem to be an action movie type of actor. The one lone action scene I found was very lackluster. He doesn't seem to be a martial artist. I also feel they dropped the ball with Tony Leung too. Tony Leung is a great actor and has been in a lot of action films in Hong Kong/China, but he's not a martial artist either. Marvel should have cast Donnie Yen as the Mandarin and Ludi Lin as Shang-Chi, while Donnie Yen on board for Marvel could have really went in on the martial arts. Now I'm afraid scenes won't be as good as Winter Soldier. Yeah, Winter Soldier is kind of the standard for MCU movies in terms of kind of just being the most well-rounded movie, at least in my opinion. Outside of that first Hulk movie, I absolutely love the first Hulk, and that's before like all of this universe stuff got started. But yeah, you're totally right. You know, a lot of people were expecting Donnie Yen to play either Shang-Chi or the Mandarin or some other major role. But yeah, I'm not familiar with Simi Liu. I'm not even sure how to say his name. And yeah, you know, I'm hoping this is not an Iron Fist situation. You're totally right, man. Like, this has to be on point with the martial arts. And I hope it's not an Iron Fist situation, because watching Iron Fist on Netflix, that was the worst show out of all the Netflix movies, and the action was just so underwhelming. It was very disappointing seeing this guy who's supposed to be one of the most badass martial artists in the Marvel universe, and Daredevil beat him up in the shows. You know, so I'm hoping we don't get a situation like that. But again, I'm not familiar with this actor, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what kind of training he gets put through. But man, if someone isn't a martial artist by nature, them trying to learn it in 6 months or even a year, they won't have that fluid, natural-looking movement to be portrayed on screen. So it's going to be hard, man. They're going to have to do some good camera work to make it look good. So yeah, you're right. A little troubling news right there. And yes, the Mandarin is actually coming back. The real Mandarin, not the fake out from the terrible twist in Iron Man 3. So yeah, I'm sure they're going to allude to Tony Stark a little bit more in this movie. Marco Zolo says, I thought Feige said that the MCU was done with phases after Phase 3. Either way, Phase 4 looks troubled. I barely feel hyped about it all compared to previous ones. Yeah, a lot of people feel the same way as you. But as like the Spinks Production says in your comment here, it says, to each his own. I'm hyped. So I'm glad that people are hyped. You know, a lot of people are going to feel different ways about different movies, about movie franchises. But at the end of the day, politics aside, because I know people are super pissed off about the wokeness of Marvel, the fact that they have to say, oh yeah, we're going to have a gay character here, instead of just letting it be in the movie. A lot of people are going to be mad about that. But hey, at the end of the day, did they tell a good story? Was it well directed? And did you enjoy it? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what someone's, you know, the politics aside and everything. This is not a politics channel. I try not to make things political as much as possible, but though it's kind of impossible when you break things down. But at the end of the day, did you enjoy the movie? Did you find some sort of enjoyment? If you're like me, I'm the type of guy who, while I prefer a lot of DC stuff and things that have been put out of DC, I find enjoyment in all movies, like any movie. You give me a bad movie, I'll try to find something I like in it. That's something people criticize me about. So I do enjoy a lot of the Marvel movies for sure. But you guys know I'm a huge DC fan. Yeah, you know, find some enjoyment out of all these movies. But I'm glad that there's some people that are hyped out of this. For those that are a little worried, you know, I don't know what to say. You know, like this announcement didn't get me incredibly hyped as well. So I'm glad some are hyped, and unfortunately we'll have to just wait to see what all this stuff brings. And you can see from this announcement they're bringing a lot of TV stuff into the fold. So it's going to be harder to keep up with the movies if you don't have the streaming services. So Disney's smart. We'll see if this investment pays off. They're definitely going to be a big competitor to Netflix and stuff. So yeah, thanks guys. That's all we have time for today. Really appreciate you guys. Stay on the lookout for more videos this week, especially the video from Powerhouse Comic Con, where we'll cover some of the stuff I saw this weekend, and meeting and seeing the original Captain Marvel / Shazam. So let me know what you guys thought about the Snyder stuff earlier. Thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys later this week. Peace.